This is Classic FM from Global.
Welcome to Next Level, where tonight we'll be hearing iconic video game soundtracks that feature your favorite animals. To start, let's head over to the islands of Animal Crossing.
Next Level with DanTDM.
This is Classic FM.
To start the show, we had the main theme from Animal Crossing New Horizons, written by Kazumi Totaka, and then we had Stardew Valley's Grandpa's theme by Concerned Ape. You're with me, DanTDM. Hello, I'm here every Saturday night playing my favorite video game soundtracks, plus loads of music that you've recommended too. Tonight on Classic FM, we're going to be hearing pieces from Skylanders, Stray, Sonic Unleashed, and Nintendogs. But now I had to include something from The Sims. I remember playing all of The Sims games when they first came out and waiting for every expansion pack to release. The Pets expansion pack was always one of the most popular ones, and you could create some really wacky pets too. I'm pretty sure in one of them you could free paint their fur. Here's the music to go with it. That was Cul-de-sac of Memories from The Sims 3 Pets, composed by Chris Lennertz. You're listening to Classic FM, and this is my animal special on Next Level. If you'd like to get in touch with me either tonight or later in the week, then head to the Classic FM website and send me a message through the comment box. That's exactly what CJ in Essex has done. He says, "Hey Dan, I saw your recent YouTube video and decided to start listening to the radio show. I was wondering if you could play a song from a series that I grew up with that you may remember voicing a character for, Skylanders." I do remember that. I was in the Netflix series of Skylanders and I played a character called Psy, who was a mishmash of different body parts. I think his head was a banana. Anyway, Skylanders sent me a one-of-a-kind figure of Psy, which I still have today. It's even worked in the game. This is Lorne Baus music for Skylanders Giants.
Next Level with DanTDM
on Classic FM.
That was Grappling with Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie, written by Grant Kirkhope and performed by the City of Prague Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Nick Rain. And before that, we had Giants from Skylanders Giants by Lorne Balfe. Hello to Jacob, who sent me this email from France. Hi, Dan. Since first hearing about your show, I've been delighted by the recognition you're providing to video game soundtracks. It's something I've wanted to see happen for a long time. I only wish I'd known about it sooner. Thank you, Jacob. I am so glad that this show is resonating with you and we get to enjoy some incredible music at the same time. My next two pieces come from games with really beautiful artwork. The first one is called Blanc, and it follows the journey of a wolf cub and a fawn stranded in a vast, snowy wilderness. The visual style of this game is so unique. It's entirely in black and white and looks like it was drawn with pencils. The game is like a story that you can play along to with beautiful music by Louis Godard on Classic FM.
This is Classic FM.
A peaceful track for such a charming little game. That was Lena Raine's soundtrack for Chicory, A Colorful Tale, which is an adventure game in a coloring book world full of animal friends where you can draw anything. Hello to Adam, Zoe, and Bernard from Norfolk who listen to my show every Thursday on Global Player on their way to and from climbing school. They say, we absolutely love the show and the impact you've made on Classic FM. Keep up the great job. Thank you for your kind words, and I love that you have made this show part of your weekly routine. A few weeks ago, I hosted an episode of Next Level about myths and legends. It meant I got to play music from Okami, which is a game about the Japanese sun goddess who takes the form of a white wolf. It feels like a good match for this evening's theme on Classic FM, and a great chance to play this majestic music by Masami Ueda again. That was The Sun Rises from Okami, written by Masami Ueda. Now, sadly, Next Level only happens once a week. But if you're the type of person who likes discovering new classical music that's written for the screen, then I recommend listening to Classic FM Movies. It's a digital radio station where you can listen to film soundtracks 24 hours a day, every day of the week. Find Classic FM Movies on the Global Player app and hear amazing music from films like Gladiator, Avatar, How to Train Your Dragon, and Jurassic Park. Speaking of dinosaurs, let's focus on games that feature animals who roamed this planet a long, long time ago. I'm talking about Far Cry Primal and Prehistoric Kingdom. The first one is a world builder where you grow the ultimate zoo for extinct animals. Take a listen to the music by Byron McKay.
Next Level with DanTDM.
On Classic FM.
That was The Shaman Story from Far Cry Primal, written by Jason Graves, and honorable mention to Maluka for the vocals. Before that, we had Nature's Greatest Creatures from the game Prehistoric Kingdom, written by Byron McKay. Okay, in this animal-themed show, we've covered wolves, fawns, and even dinosaurs. But I think it's time to get a bit closer to home. I'm talking about pets. Obviously, I had to include something from the super popular Nintendogs. And if you listen to my Classic FM show every week, you'll know I find it so fun to discover places where classical music is used in the gaming world. Did you know that if you go on a walk in Nintendogs, you can buy an old-fashioned record that plays Haydn's Surprise Symphony? The music has some loud parts which could startle your puppy, but if you train them well enough, they can earn points by keeping calm during the music. So that's the connection between Haydn and Nintendogs. I'll play the Surprise Symphony next.
Classic FM.
The Toyota CHR. Striking design, trusted hybrid technology. Choose self-charging or plug-in hybrid. With Toyota know-how, reliability is built in. Now available at 0% APR representative over 24 months. And right now, enjoy an extra £1,500 off. Ready to go with confidence? Visit your nearest Toyota centre. Available on PCP when financed through Toyota Financial Services by September 30th. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website conditions apply.
31 years ago, the World Wide Web was introduced, the National Lottery launched, and Darwood and Tanner began making people smile. And whilst things have changed a lot since then, Darwood and Tanner's mission to provide the very best dental care through the very latest technology is still at the heart of everything they do. For our most comprehensive, tailored and complete dental implant, root canal and gum disease treatments, visit darwoodandtanner.co.uk.
Brewers, the go-to destination for decorating. Freshen up your home with the must-have paint brands including Dulux, Johnston's, Little Green and Farrow & Ball. Or find your perfect pattern with hundreds of wallpapers to browse. Pop into any of our 200 stores nationwide and grab a free Brewers DIY card for 10% off your first and second order. Or visit us online at brewers.co.uk. Brewers, the go-to destination for decorating. Get busy!
Have you ever wondered what a sandwich sounds like? Not much to it, is there? Unless, of course, it's a Walker's sandwich. That is good. Now that's what a sarnie should sound like. Go all crisp in with Walker's. Delicious.
If you were missold a home on a holiday park, holidayparkadvicecentre.co.uk could help you receive compensation. Text ADVICE to 78900.
Here comes Steve, with the satisfied smile of a man who's checking out at midday after a great night's sleep and a delicious unlimited brekkie. See the untamable bedhead hair, and if you look really close, you can see that properly well-rested glow, which can only mean one thing. Last night he slept at Premier Inn. Get better sleep for your money. Premier Inn. Rest easy. Breakfast subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
Oh, bad traffic. Great news, isn't it? More time in the car. Joy. Maybe you don't feel it. Maybe you don't drive a Lexus NX yet. But when you do, you'll see the positive of peak hour, the delight in a detour, the love of the long way. The Lexus NX plug-in hybrid. Experience amazing before you arrive.
Next Level with DanTDM
on Classic FM.
Those loud bits really made me jump. That was the Surprise Symphony second movement as heard in Nintendogs, written by Haydn and played by the Danish Chamber Orchestra, conducted by Adam Fischer. Next, I've picked out a few pieces with a feline theme. We're going to hear music from Little Kitty, Big City in a moment, but first on Classic FM, it's the soundtrack for Stray, which is all about a stray cat. It was recommended by Lily, who loves open world games, and she listens to the music from Stray to help her concentrate.
You're listening to Classic FM.
That was The Erratic Engineer from Little Kitty, Big City, written by Riley Koenig. And before that, we had Jan van der Kruyzen's Clean City from Stray. You're with DanTDM on Next Level, and one of my favorite things about hosting this show on Classic FM is discovering music that I love. This year, I've fallen in love with so many composers and special pieces of music, and this is one of them. It's called March Caprice for Piano and Orchestra from Kingdom Hearts, a game that has seen so many animals on our consoles like Goofy, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and even Lady and the Tramp as the fountain in Traverse Town. I really do love that track. That was March Caprice for piano and orchestra from Kingdom Hearts, written by Yoko Shimomura and performed by the New Japan Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Kaoru Wada. I'm playing that for Sam in West Moseley with fiancé Mike and the two cats, Ren and May. Also, James in Beverly says it's his first time at being able to catch the show live. Hopefully, we can see some Kingdom Hearts music on here soon, as it's all so beautiful. James, I hope you enjoyed that one. It's almost time for me to say bye for another week, but I couldn't host an animal show without featuring everyone's favorite hedgehog on Classic FM. This time, transforming into a werehog, a mix between a hedgehog and a werewolf. Sonic is one of my favorite franchises ever since Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. And this soundtrack from Sonic Unleashed was written by Tomoya Otani and is incredible. That was the incredible Planetary Pieces from Sonic Unleashed, written by Tomoya Otani and performed by the Tokyo Philharmonic Orchestra. It's almost 10 o'clock, so it's time for me to pass you over to Mylene Class for Calm Classics. I'm back next week with music from a brand new game that I've been given exclusive access to. I'm really excited to give you the first play here on Classic FM, so I'll see you next week.
Classic FM.